Today, Sagra took her daughter grape picking. The two of them filled up a small bucket. They also picked some pistachios along the way to bring home and share the sweet taste of the mountains with the kids. Early one morning, as Sagra was putting on her shoes, she reminded Zara and Hossein to look after their younger siblings at home and to watch the sheep. After giving her instructions, she and Zainab set off on the mountain path to pick grapes. The mother and daughter followed the mountain path to the edge of a clear stream. The water keeps this area lush, and the soil is rich. It is the perfect place for wild or semi-wild grapes. It is the easiest place for them to grow. The air by the creek was cool, and the water trickled softly. The vines often climb up these trees, so the grapes can be hidden among the leaves. The mother and daughter searched along the stream. Just then, Sogra's eyes lit up. She had finally spotted the grapevines. The vines were wrapped around a bent tree, making them easy for anyone to reach. Between the leaves of the vine, bunches of grapes were faintly visible on the branches. They were small, hidden treasure in the valley. The grapes had a pale, yellowish-green color, and their skin was quite smooth. From the way they looked, they seemed to be a type of white grape. This kind usually has a good balance of sweet and sour, with a crisp juice. They are not as intense as red grapes, but have their own refreshing flavor. These grapes were in the middle of ripening. Their color was slowly changing from green to a pale yellow. This is a common sign of ripeness for white grapes. As the sugars build up, the skin becomes lighter and more translucent. The fruit already had a base of sweetness, and the acidity was also decreasing, but they had not yet reached that deep golden yellow. You could say the grapes were about 70 to 80% ripe. They tasted crisp with a little sweetness and tartness. In a little while, their skin would become a richer yellow, and the inside would be firmer and juicier. That is when they would be at their sweetest. But when picking grapes in the wild, you have to remember it is first come, first served. Whoever finds them first gets to pick them. If you show up a little late, the grapes hanging on the vines might already be gone, with only leaves left behind. To their happy surprise, Zainab picked a bunch of golden, translucent grapes. She put them in the bucket, and this bunch of the ripest, most yellow grapes really stood out. Zainab could not resist trying one. She thought it tasted great. This type of white grape comes in both wild and semi-wild varieties. Semi-wild means they might have originally come from cultivated grapevines. Over time, they spread naturally and became part of the forest environment. In places like this, by the creek in the valley, the soil is moist and there is plenty of sun, so fallen grape seeds can easily sprout and grow. The mother and daughter had now finished picking all the grapes. The small plastic bucket was filled to the very top. There was fresh spring water here, so they decided to wash a bunch and try them first. After eating some grapes and taking a short break, the two of them gathered their things and prepared to head back home on the mountain path. They carried the full bucket of grapes with them. Waiting for them would be a family with excited smiles and a happy atmosphere. But before they went all the way back, Sagra wanted to pick some pistachios on the way. It was the perfect season for ripe pistachios, and you could see them everywhere on the hillside. The tree right in front of them was covered in clusters of nuts, even though most of them were not fully ripe. And it was not the best time to pick them. The sheep absolutely loved to eat them. Zainab slowly climbed up the tree trunk. She is more agile than her mother, so it was not difficult for her to climb. Every time Sagra brings Zainab with her, she feels much more at ease. This little helper is not only responsible, but also very capable. She can always help her mom with some of the hard work. She can always help her mom. While Zainab was still in the tree picking nuts, Sagra gathered some firewood to start a fire. She planned to boil water for a pot of tea. This is a small but essential ritual in their daily lives. Soon, the water was boiling. Sagra told Zainab to come down and get ready for tea. By this time, Zainab had already picked half a bag of small pistachios. She slowly climbed down from the tree. This half bag of nuts was more than enough. After all, the trees are everywhere in the mountains. It was nice to just pick some on the way home for the kids, to have a fresh taste. Sagra sorted through the pistachios in the bag. She sifted through them. The ripe nuts were shaken into the bag. The smaller, unripe nuts that were left would be taken back to feed the sheep. After they were finished, the mother and daughter could finally sit down and quietly sip some tea to relax after their long walk. After finishing their tea, the two of them put the bags on their backs and started on the mountain path home. They were not far from home now. After walking for nearly half an hour, they finally saw their familiar tent. The children had been waiting for a long time. When they saw their sister and mother return, the little ones gathered around, hoping for a surprise. The cameraman asked Yasin to do a little dance to liven things up for everyone, but this time, he did not immediately start dancing. Maybe he just was not feeling it. Seeing the grapes and the pistachios, the children could not wait to try them. These small wild nuts were put right into their mouths, and they chewed them up with the shell and everything. Sagar then took the pistachios that were not fully ripe and fed them to the sheep. As soon as the sheep smelled the nuts, they immediately rushed over in excitement, scrambling to get a bite of the nuts. The rest of these nuts were fully ripe. After washing them, the whole family could take their time and enjoy them. Hossein, Yasin, and Fatima had already started eating the grapes with their sweet and sour flavor. It was exactly the kind of taste the children love most. With the first bite, there was a slight tartness that was quickly followed by sweetness, leaving a refreshing and satisfying taste. Watching her children chewing on grapes and eating pistachios with smiling eyes and happy faces filled Sogra's heart with warmth. Just then, the cameraman's friend, Kevin, drove up. He brought a load of bricks and a metal barrel and two wooden boards that looked like shelves. These were all things they would need at their new grazing spot. After Kevin parked, the children immediately got to work, helping to unload all the heavy items one by one. These cinder blocks will probably be used to build a toilet, and maybe even a simple bathroom. In the nomadic lifestyle, even though it is simple, basic facilities like a toilet are still essential. In this vast, open wilderness, having your own private space, where you can comfortably wash up and use the restroom, will definitely make life more comfortable. With the children's help, the cinder blocks were unloaded in no time. Sagra invited Kevin for a cup of tea and some fruit. However, Kevin politely declined. He had other things he needed to do. Sagra watched as Kevin's car drove off into the distance. Here on this new land, even though everything was just getting started, the unity and support within her family made her believe that their life would definitely get better and better.